I was I was born ready.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so good morning. It's Taco Tuesday. We're gonna talk about the Super Bowl, guys. We're a little behind on this one, but frankly, we just weren't gonna talk about it. It's not worth. It's not really worth dedicating a lot of discussion to. But there was a development that caught Cameron's attention, and he brought it to my attention. Um, and I ain't gonna lie, it's funny. But let me set it up a little bit. So, oh, did you share the thing about the cages and all that?
I attempted to.
Oh,
Anyhow, keep rolling.
anyway, okay, so we can talk about that a little bit. We don't have to actually have the article. Do you remember who it was from? I can reference it. Anyway.
Feminist news.
Okay. So, um the Super Bowl. Uh, there's been an outcry about the Super Bowl halftime show. But here's the thing. It hasn't been an outcry. There hasn't been a massive outcry that I've seen. And this is what we do. This is part of what we do is analysis, and I'm a news junkie. I read everything. I haven't seen a massive outcry from the right freaking out about the stripper poles and the sexy dance and all this crap out of the Super Bowl. I'm not saying I haven't that I've seen nothing. Matt Walsh did a video where he actually made a very good argument, and I agree with him. And the crux of his argument is, look, it's not that we have a big problem with, if you listen, lefties, feminists, if the thing that you need to do to feel good about yourselves is to hypersexualize women and put them on display as objects of pure lust that don't have intellectual autonomy, then okay, that's what you need to do as feminists. We get it. Um, but maybe you don't need to do it on primetime television in the middle of a major sporting event. No, and like I said, there's only one. That's the only big name, I guess, that I've seen really dig into it. All this nonsense about there being a huge outcry. What I have seen is reams and reams and reams of leftists just going on about what racists white people are because they're offended by brown bodies, and that's ludicrous. What pushback there has had nothing to do with race. It has had to do with the sexualization, the objectification, and the vulgarity of scantily clad women dancing on a stripper pole on primetime television. Um, refresh me, Cameron. When I joined the army, right before I left for basic, some of the boys took me to a strip club. It's the only time I've ever actually been to a strip club and watched strippers. Um, it's literally the only time I've ever been in a strip club, except for when I was selling insurance to strippers because they need health insurance. They need accident insurance for when they fall off the fucking pole. Oh, and there was the F bomb. Sorry, guys. Anyway, were you there for that?
Nope.
Okay, that may have been Joe and Robbie and anyway, anyway,
That sounds like a joke.
yeah, yeah, they got me a redhead stripper, and we were there for about an hour. I drank a couple of drinks, and then I went to war. Anyway, I've never been I'm not a big fan. I've never particularly cared for strip clubs. It just seems like a lot of uh,
$8 Bud Lights for
yeah,
boobies you can't touch. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I'll buy a $200 bottle of scotch and take it home to my wife.
yeah.
That
You can
work.
touch her.
That math works better for me. Anyway, What I have seen is a lot of outcry from the lefties about what racists white people are for being offended by these brown bodies. I promise you, it could have been a couple of straight up blue eyed, blonde headed Aryan Swedes up there, and well, people would have been annoyed by it because it's the sexualization. One of the criticisms or rejoinders, I guess, that I've seen a lot of is, well, how does your kid? We talked about this one. How would your kids even know what a stripper pole is unless you told them? Well, I don't know. You put a pole in front of them and put a stripper on it, and I, I, my kid's
That,
gonna figure that out. But I don't know. Maybe your kids are just dumber than mine.
and look, the thing that really bothers me about that one is that is such a disingenuous argument. Like, you're the one that chose to put a stripper pole on stage, and you're the one that chose to have Shakira and J Lo shake their ass. And let me be really clear. In like pure lizard brain kind of way, seeing some woman shake her ass on a stripper pole, I might choose to do that. I might choose to watch that rather. But I'm not going to choose to watch it with my children in the middle of a major sporting event. Um, that being said, oh,
It's good.
Rod, no, it's good. Rod's in the comments. He said he made guacamole during the halftime show. I bet it was good guac too.
I'm 90% sure I was asleep during the halftime show, but
Anyhow, there's only one reason you would put a stripper pole as part of your routine, and that's because you are trying to sexualize at least that part of your routine. And you're doing it to be subversive, and you're doing it to be shocking, and you're doing it to maybe thumb people in the eye and push the envelope and every other little expression you could say for trying to push things. And sorry about that, brief distraction. But the only reason you would do it is to push the envelope. So when people get offended, well, you're the one who deliberately did something offensive. If you're going to do something like that, own it. Just own it. And so the whole thing about, well, your kid doesn't know what a stripper pole is, and to your point, they know what one is now because you showed them one, and children ask questions. So, and I've used this example before. Like, I did not understand why Jessica Rabbit made me feel funny when I was a kid, but I knew Jessica Rabbit made me feel funny when I was a kid. And same thing. There's probably, young men in particular all over the country, and they don't know why they like that halftime show so much, but they know they liked it. And it doesn't have anything to do with the brown body, the white body, the whatever body. I actually happen to think that Shakira and J-Lo both are highly attractive, and I'm about as right wing as you get. So, but you can just, uh, as the amazing Lucas would say, you can miss me with that nonsense, because that's what it is.
now it did give us this. I don't know what that was. I don't get it. Okay, this goes on for a full 2 minutes. That's enough of that. Because did you have enough of that?
Yeah.
Why?
Ron's pointing out that Lady Gaga did a similar show, and Lady Gaga did do a similar show. Um, I would draw somewhat of a distinction between them. Um, well, no, I guess, you know what? I'm gonna let
And
all that go.
to Ron's point, nobody reasonably expected the football game to be a wholesome basket of muffins. Um, we don't expect a wholesome show from the NFL precisely because, well, it's part of the left wing media. We've seen over the last several years that sports casting has been co-opted dramatically by the very, very far left. Um,
Yeah, it's why
basically another
ESPN's
wing of the prop.
drowning.
Yeah, and that's the point I was getting to. The it's well, just like the Sci-Fi Channel. You take football. Football fans are a certain kind of people, just like sci-fi fans are a certain kind of people. Sci-fi fans like science fiction, and then you get the network taken over by a woman who says, "You know, I don't get science fiction. I don't know why people like it." Then what are you doing here? So you get the football shows, all your ESPN stuff taken over by a bunch of people who are like, you know, people should be more interested in far left wing causes like hating America. Why do you think they watch this channel? They don't watch the football show because they want to watch the politics show. If they want to watch the politics show, they'll watch that. And you know how we know? Because they wanted to watch the football show, and then you made it a politics show, and they stopped watching it.
Yes,
The
I'm
math is not
literally
hard, but the fact of the matter is the left can't meme and the left can't math.
yes. Yeah, look, and to your point, I don't have a problem with infusing left wing ideas into a well told story. I love Star Trek, and Star Trek bounces back and forth between some fairly radical left wing ideas, right wing ideas. But Star Trek was always a character focused, character drama type of show. And they told actual stories. And quite often, unless the message had to be absolutely punch you in the face on the nose, they would very frequently present both sides of an argument and make you realize that, when you have people that have strongly held opinions coming from completely different positions in the universe, the compromise between them is not as easy as one would think that the compromise would be. And that's part of what made Star Trek so interesting. And it's part of what made it palatable when they came up with the left wing solution as opposed to the right wing solution. It's because they did at least present the right wing solution, in a fair and equitable light. What's happened now with the takeover of media is, it's left wing good, right wing bad forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I think the last thing that I saw that had any kind of left wing messaging in it that I found entertaining, that I felt like was art, was Fury Road. And Fury Road was able to get away with a whole lot of left wing stuff because it was an absolutely kick ass movie first. And then all the stuff about, women being oppressed by men was layered in and layered in very cleverly. Um, Not a whole lot of grand speeches about why women are awesome and stuff like that. Just little tiny bits of dialogue here and there. You were
Well,
able to focus on the movie.
that and the main boss was not just an evil white man. He was extra white by the white powder. I mean,
He was white Darth Vader, literally. But no, like the I don't understand the bizarre hypocrisy in the whole female empowerment thing. A lot of the same girls that I see saying things like men shouldn't objectify women, same girls love to post pictures of Jason Momoa. And
yep.
and it's just kind of weird. And I'm not saying that Jason Momoa is not a good looking dude that wouldn't appeal to a whole wide swath of women. Like, my wife thinks he's cute. Obviously, he's huge and muscly and all those kind of things. But hold on now. If objectifying topless women is so terrible, and you want equality. Oh, yeah, that's right. And you're going to draw the same conclusion I keep drawing. You don't actually want equality. You want superiority. You feel like men have oppressed women for so long that the only way to balance the scales is to have reparations and give women more power than men. Potentially, definitely. Yeah, that's. But Rod he's still in the comments, and he says it's the first pro game I've watched since the Falcons threw the Super Bowl game. That's funny. And if you go socialist, you won't have any money in the future. Well, I haven't
That's
watched.
right, because you can vote your way in, but you have to shoot your way out. You know, I think I'm suddenly interested in supporting Bernie Sanders.
that's a dark joke right there, sir.
Dark humor is like food. Not everybody gets it.
But yeah, we weren't even gonna talk about it because I didn't even watch the game. I haven't watched a game in years. I just got so sick of all the stuff with the because it started small, right? It started with oh well, we're gonna have pink accents on our uniform for in the entire month of October for breast cancer awareness. I was like, okay, cool. So in November, are you going to have blue accents on your uniform for prostate cancer awareness? Oh, no, you're
Oh
not?
no, 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 no. Anything to anything that you do to raise awareness or research funding for prostate cancer is misogyny, and and therefore it's actually anti breast cancer awareness.
Look, don't get me wrong. I'm all about Save the Tatas. They're amazing things. I wish to save as many as possible. But, prostate cancer is every bit as deadly. All cancer is every bit. In fact, all cancer is deadly. It's just to varying degrees as to how deadly your particular form of cancer is. And so I let that go, and then some of the rules started to change, and then the commentary surrounding games started to change, and then right around the time the whole thing happened with Mike Brown, you had NFL players that were running out of locker rooms with their hands up for hands up, don't shoot. And if you know anything about what happened with Mike Brown, that whole hands up, don't shoot is not what happened. The kid who said that in the beginning recanted his story when the FBI sat him down and said, "You need to understand something. Lying
What
to
you're
the
doing
local
is a crime.
yeah, lying to the local sheriff is actually okay, but lying to the feds is a federal offense. So did Mike Brown really do hands up, don't shoot? And of course, the kid's story changed because that's not
Yep.
what happened. And so I put up with it, and I put up with it, and I put up with it, and then the whole thing with Colin Kaepernick came around, and that was when I was just like, "Come on, guys, enough, enough." Then other players started kneeling, and I realized that with the way football had been muted and the politics had been amplified, I didn't like it anymore. Football was pure escapism for me. It was seeing athletes play a tough game at the highest level, and the thinnest of the thinnest margins was going to be the difference between success or failure. And now this is not what it's about anymore. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to watch. And oh wow, that's pretty intense, Rod. Rod says I took care of a neighbor to the bitter end who had prostate cancer and the kidneys bypassed to bags, and it spread everywhere, and he had nausea that was impossible.
Yeah,
But
I don't want to get spun too far off on prostate cancer. We're already bumping up against 20 minutes. We should actually talk about prostate cancer and honestly a little bit of men's rights activism stuff. Uh, the fact of the matter on that is prostate cancer is worse than breast cancer. It's less treatable.
yeah, and then just to button it all up, the Super Bowl halftime show has been a part of this problem because there have been things There have been some that were amazing. There's one year where Prince did the Super Bowl halftime show, and I gotta admit it was pretty darn good to see him come out and play all the old songs. Um, but we had like the Janet Jackson nip slip, and yeah, some people will point out, well, Adam Levine strutted around the stage without his shirt on last year, and you know what? He did, and I thought that was pretty ridiculous as well. Though I'll point out he didn't do it on a stripper pole. But this is all part of it. The package that it has become has chased away somebody that legitimately loves the game of football. I still watch college. I think college football's fun because the college players shut the up unless they're talking about football. Occasionally they give credit to God, which I think is beyond okay. But really, it's God and football and coaching the team and the kind of things I tune in for. And Rod points out it's still okay for us to do right. Rod, sir, you and I are 100% in agreement on that one. It's always okay to do the right thing, even if nobody else is doing it. But that's all I got. Seriously, the left's overreaction to our reaction seems to be disproportionately larger than our reaction.
Yeah, like
It's
I said,
bizarre.
and we spent more time talking about. We got spun off a little bit on some other stuff, but the the big takeaway I think here is this feels a lot like the AOC thing when that video of AOC dancing came out and there was all this astroturf bullshit about all these right wing pundits are losing their minds about this girl in college. No, nobody gave a shit. There were no crazed right wingers screaming that there was anything wrong with the video. Best, at best, you could argue that the video showed that she did not look much different in that video than she does now. Because in that video, when she was dancing on the roof in college at what, age 23, 24? Oh, that's right. She's turning 30 this year. She's still a damn child. That's the most damning thing we got out of it. She's a kid who likes to play with her friends and have fun. Okay, if I had a little more time on my hands, I'd be out shooting airsoft guns at my buddies on the weekends. But, well, unlike people like AOC, I've got an ever growing horde of young mouths to feed, and 4 kids want to eat every damn day. So, ladies and gentlemen, be safe out there. It's time to go to work.
I still think the is the most hysterical thing. I died the first time I saw it.